I think people are starting to come into the room now. So I think we've got just close to 100 coming in. So we'll just give it a few more seconds just to let everybody come in. Welcome to those who are just joining us.
Yep, got it.
We've got just over 100 people coming into the room now. So we'll start to get started. Others will be joining as they come in, but we'll just get a brief introduction going now, just to be wary of everybody's time today. So let me be the first to officially welcome you to the Empresaria APAC Into the Metaverse webinar event today. It's our first webinar event focused on the metaverse, hopefully the first of many, and certainly one that I've been looking forward to myself. So the future of virtual experience. I'll be your moderator for today. My name is James Palin. I'm the Regional Sales Director for Empresaria. I've been focused on the technology sector for the last 17 years in Asia, and definitely the metaverse and cryptocurrency, two of the areas which are closest to my heart. I'm very much looking forward to the presentations today. We've got 6 amazing speakers, which are going to be speaking today on 3 very important questions, or 3 questions that we feel will really give good insight into the metaverse, how it will affect us, and where it's going in terms of us as consumers and in the business world. So the agenda for today, we'll be looking at the metaverse in the world of work, challenges of the metaverse, and its business potential. And then once we've gone through and we've given the speakers chance to introduce themselves and also to go through and answer those questions, please save any questions that you do have. You can type them into the chat box and you'll be able to share those with us, and we'll be able to answer those or share and get those questions answered for you towards the end of the meeting today. But we do ask that you do ask questions, get involved. Please feel free to ask anything that you want. It is an area of great interest, so we will try and get as many of those questions answered as we can. You can see all of our names and profiles there, so please feel free to link in with us as well. So next, I'm going to hand over to our CEO, Rafa. Over to you.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, James. So good morning, I would say, for most of you. Good afternoon for some. Just a few words to, first of all, say thank you. Thank you for making the time to be here today. And especially a big thanks to all our speakers. I know this is a quite interesting topic, so really happy that you have made your time to join us in today's conference. As James mentioned, my name is Rafa Moyano, and I am the CEO of the Asia Pacific region at Empresaria. In this region, we operate under 6 different brands, and we cover the whole extension of Asia Pacific, but we only have physical presence in 10 countries. And so far, and I say so far, we have no presence in the metaverse. Metaverse, as probably you know, is a blend of 2 words, the Greek word meta and the word called universe. So you combine both, meta means beyond, so it's really beyond everything. And I believe it's a fair name. Why? Because so far in the metaverse, we can play, we can build, we can explore, we can meet people, we can invest with the famous NFT or tokens, and even we can create, if we want to, our own avatar that it could look like the one that I have, similar to me, or you can create a brand new avatar that represents yourself. So personally, I believe that it has now become a matter of when, not if, we are going to have some kind of interaction in the metaverse. I'm sure there are a lot of challenges and much more potential to come. So I can't wait to hear from our 6 speakers what is going to be next on the metaverse, and hopefully that will also reshape our strategy in the virtual world. So thanks again, everyone, and back to you, James.
Rafa, so I will now hand over to our speakers to be able to introduce themselves. So we will go through from Steve, and we'll just go round in a clockwise manner and just allow you guys to introduce yourself to everybody out there. So over to you, Steve.
Right, thanks, James. Right, so Hi everyone, and good morning and good afternoon for some of you. I'm Steve. I'm the co-founder of a Metaverse project called MetaLoka. I have more than 5 years experience in multinational tech project and corporation. Got funded by Alibaba Cloud Enterprise Singapore and even recognized by Vietnam Department of Tech and Science and Technology government. Right. So regarding the project Metaverse project I'm working on is the first in the world open Metaverse that feature an infinite space, and our mission is to develop our trademark building engine to allow users to create their own metaverse within MetaLoka while bridging to other metaverse in order to achieve an ultimate omniverse. Because for me, right, I think the future of metaverse, not just each company have their own metaverse, but have to be connected like a virtual world parallel together. And for today, I would love to talk about the challenge in terms of adoption for the metaverse, and as well as the solution for it and the future of it. Right.
Hi,
Thanks, Steve, and welcome. Over to Wan Wei.
Hi everyone, this is Wan Wei. So I'm the head of ecosystem at Multiverse Labs. So Multiverse Labs is actually, we are valued at $250 million US. And currently, so basically as the head of ecosystem, I'm in charge of nurturing the multiverse ecosystem to ensure that, stakeholders are like engaged and like really excited about what we are co-creating together. So Multiverse is a photorealistic metaverse, which makes it very suitable for brands like in the fashion, entertainment, retail spaces. And my role is pretty cross-functional and independent of like whether the stakeholders identify themselves as tech-savvy or not. And basically we work with large real estate companies, fashion houses, record labels, entertainment studios, gaming studios, and NGO all over the world. So I'm personally, I'm very excited about like the DAOs, which is the decentralized autonomous organizations that we will be building on our platform, especially for people who are like not very familiar with tech. So really great to be here today and looking forward to interacting with everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Wan Wei. Danny, over to you.
Hi everyone, my name is Danny. I'm a co-founder of 42 Interactive. We are a digital transformation agency. We use technology creatively to solve real world problems and help people connect with each other. We are currently working on 2 products, joint venture products. One of them is a VR streaming platform for theater plays. So the content is specifically theater productions. And the other one is a chronic pain management therapy using virtual reality, which hopefully will open up a clinic soon, this coming months, COVID permitting. So I have more than a decade experience in working with interactive interactive projects, varying from touch interactives, VR and AR projects, and also both temporary and permanent exhibitions in museums and in events. Yeah, that's about me, and yeah, I'm excited to kind of, I guess, hear from the panelists, the experts, and from all of you about the future of Metaverse.
Fantastic. Thanks, Danny. Welcome. Daniel, over to you. You're on mute, Daniel. Everyday comment in this world now. There you go, Daniel. We can hear you now.
Yeah, so I'm CEO of GamePay, and we are creating infrastructure, tools, and communities for game developers to launch on our platform. We are launching our own NFT marketplace, DEX. We are creating our game art with utility. We are bringing fashion houses into the world of gaming. And we're removing silos between gaming, fashion, and other areas. So that's what we're doing. And yeah, we're based in Singapore. We have some institutional investors behind us, Sia Capital AI in Singapore. And we just won a grant by Everscale blockchain. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks, Daniel. Have we got Vilma? I know we're having some technical difficulties with Vilma. Is Vilma here now?
It's not here.
Not here. Okay. So yeah, unfortunately, some technical difficulties there. Francis, are you out there?
Yep. Yes, I'm out here. Hey guys. Well, thank you everyone for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here. So I'm Francis. I'm the head of technology solutions for Ogilvy Philippines. And I'm actually also the commerce lead for Ogilvy Philippines. So what we do, or what I do, is help companies and brands with their digital marketing and digital transformation strategies, and trying to help them see the opportunities in MarTech platforms and in creative tech. So basically helping them with their growth and innovation in the digital space, including the metaverse now.
Fantastic. Thank you, Francis. Yeah, we've got a lot of people now who are coming in super excited about the speakers, very excited about this metaverse webinar. So we have a question for everybody out there who's listening and watching, which is possible for you to answer this question as well. So you can see the poll coming up on the screen now, hopefully. So do you think the metaverse represents a real business opportunity, or is it just the latest overhyped trend? So if you can click on one of those boxes for us, then we should be able to get an overall sense of what our viewers today are thinking. Personally, I believe yes, it has business potential. What do you guys think? Unfortunately, the host and the panelists cannot vote, but you will be able to share your thoughts later. I will just give that a few seconds for people to be able to click, to be able to vote. And then we should hopefully see some answers coming up. People are starting to click in now. Nabila, are you getting the stats coming in from your side?
Yes. Let me know when you want to close it. There's 70% people have participated in the poll.
You can see anything coming in from your side. I can't see anything from my side, but okay. Certainly if you think that enough people have answered now, then we can move on. Yeah. There you go. 73% agree, yes, I believe it has business potential. 8% no, I think it's an overhyped trend. Interesting. 19% not sure. Don't know much about the metaverse at the moment. Well, hopefully we can get that 19% knowing much more about the metaverse by the end of the webinar today. So just before we hand over to the questions, we thought we'd share a little bit of information with you about the metaverse. So you can see here the stats with regards to the metaverse in terms of the potential value coming up in the next few years. And it's really starting to grow quickly. I mean, to think that we have so much potential here, so much growth, really is going to affect our day-to-day lives. I think, when you look at the fact businesses like JP Morgan have just opened a lounge in the blockchain in Decentraland. We've got Samsung, which have opened an exact replica of their Manhattan flagship store in there, which you can go into. You can walk around in Decentraland and visit these shops, and probably in the future be able to exchange your virtual gifts for actual gifts in the real world. We have decentralized currencies, we have multiple metaverses, and yeah, it's only growing every day. The conversation around how many jobs this can create starts in the tens of thousands and ends in the hundreds of thousands. And with the amount of headsets that were sold last year and the amount of growth we've seen there, if anybody has put on an Oculus Rift or an Oculus Quest headset, very, very quickly that, wow, this is different. And with the new Pro being released in the next few months, potentially, which is going to be another quantum leap forward in terms of the screen, the technology, the computing power, the sound, it's either going to further immerse us into this virtual world, and it's going to create a fork in the road. Which way do we go? Some people are going to go into the metaverse in a big way. There are others that are going to be worried about going down that path, the effects that it could have on your health, on your eyesight, with having screens so close to your face, and the potential lack of social interaction as well. For some people, that's going to be a dream. For some people, that's going to be a nightmare. But I look forward to hearing more from the panel on this today. So let's jump into our first question. So how will the metaverse change the world of work? So I think on this question, we've got Wan Wei and Daniel who are going to jump in. So Wan Wei, I'll hand over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, James. So I hope everyone's doing well today. So I guess the first thing that, the metaverse will change the world of work is to tackle Zoom fatigue. Like we are currently on Zoom right now, right? So just to quickly check, how many people here have actually felt in the past 2 years, you have actually experienced Zoom fatigue? Can you type in the chat below, like just type yes or no? Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people have experienced the Zoom fatigue. Yeah, I see a lot of yes, right? So if we were to define metaverse as let's have a simple definition of metaverse. So let's say if a metaverse is defined as something that's social, that's immersive, that's interactive, then basically it will solve the problem that we all face of Zoom fatigue. That is looking at the screen and looking at yourself, which sometimes when we look at ourselves, it makes a lot of people feel very uncomfortable. Because of a lot of it has been like psychologically proven, and a lot of research has been done on it, and your eyes are strained because you're looking at a screen and a camera, right? So let me give 2 examples of closed metaverses that have been doing this very well to tackle Zoom fatigue. The first is Microsoft Mesh. So Microsoft Mesh, in the form of a hologram, they actually want to make the working environment so fun. So imagine a future where you jump into a call and we don't look like ourselves. We look like the avatars, like here, very beautifully creative avatars. So if I want to do random things to my hair, I can. If I want to wear something else, I can. If I don't even want to look like myself, I can. I can look like a unicorn, and you will just talk to a unicorn. So basically, a hologram like that makes work really fun, because you basically don't know what to expect, not just of yourself, but of your colleagues as well, of the people that you're speaking to, right? And it's a hologram format. Then we also have Facebook Meta. So they are doing their own Horizon. And this one is more of, you require a VR headset. And VR is interesting in the sense that when you turn around, it's like 360, right? And basically, the feeling is that you can actually be in another environment as much as you like to experience. So I guess the future of work will be dramatically changed, of course, catalyzed by COVID-19. And maybe it can be for good, because in the metaverse, you need not follow the natural laws of physics. So basically, if you want to have your meeting in the skies or flying around, you can basically. So the whole idea is make it fun, make it immersive, and have people enjoy work. But technically, how it progresses, we don't know. And let's just all be optimistic about it. Yeah. Passing to Daniel.
Hey, that was very nice presentation. Yeah, nice, concisely put, well put. So thank you. I enjoy listening to that. So I can give you guys some of my insights. So we are heavily involved in what we believe is the beginning of a big transformation in the world of work. And I think in the previous presentation, it was discussed that we're talking about virtual reality and being able to work in space. Here I'm talking to you guys by the bay, but it's in physical world, but I could be in space, as the previous presenter was saying. Oh, can someone put their phone on mute? Kami persilahkan Anda untuk melakukan aktivitas kembali seperti. Hey, thank you. Yeah, so we're heavily involved in this space. We believe it's a big transformation. So at GamePay, what we're doing is we are capitalizing on the new tokenized economy, and here we're talking about gaming as being a vertical of the new gig economy, tokenized gig economy, as in you can drive Grab or drive Uber and earn money in the gig economy. But here now you have a new opportunity, which is to play games and earn money. So even if you're a Grab driver, if you have a few quiet periods, you can actually play games and earn money. You earn money for your time. You earn money for playing the game and giving data into the game. But this is the new gig economy, and it's a tokenized gig economy because you earn in tokens, you earn in crypto that then you can convert into fiat to buy goods. But it also could mean that you can just earn in tokens and then use the tokens to buy goods and services. And this new tokenized gig economy is here to stay. Gaming is just the beginning. And I know it can be a bit hard to believe or mind-blowing to say that you can actually, play games and earn money. But it is the truth. And, we are part of the process. We have actually play to earn games where the players actually earn to play the game. And this is just the beginning. This is just part of the new tokenized gig economy where you can be anywhere and you can earn money by joining the Multiverse or joining app and earn in crypto. So that's basically, from my perspective, just to address the questions that was posed earlier.
Fantastic. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Wanwei. Yeah, that's very interesting. I love the idea of this Ready Player One type world where we can look like anybody. We can make money for playing games. It opens up a whole new world for people to be able to earn, to live, and to thrive as well with the new world that we're in.
Yeah, it's basically a gig economy as we know, but then with a tokenized world around it. So gig economy, you earn via gigs, but then you earn in tokens by being anywhere. And yes, in this new world, you can wear any avatar. As the previous presenter was saying, you can be in space, you can look like a cat, whatever, you can be anything. So, we're not constrained by the physical world anymore.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's fantastic. And it's limitless in terms of what we can do. Apologies for the noise that you heard during that. I just saw in the chat that there was an earthquake announcement that was happening in Indonesia. So hopefully everybody out there in Indonesia is safe. Please all look after yourselves. So let's jump on to question number 2. Thank you very much to Wanwei and Daniel for question number 1. So question number 2, how will the metaverse change the world of work? So for question number 2, I think we're going to be hearing from Danny and Steve. So Danny, over to you.
Sorry, it's just a quick correction. It's about the challenges in the world of metaverse that we need to answer.
What are the social impact and challenges of the metaverse? Yeah, correct. I think we brought up the wrong slide there. Apologies for that. So
it's all good.
Over to you, Danny.
Yeah, so I've identified a couple of challenges while working on this couple of projects that I've mentioned before. One of them is the adoption of the technology in general. And when I said about adoption, it's not just looking at one specific technology like VR or AR, but talking about it in general, where with the world of metaverse, we need multiple different technologies to make it happen, not only from the hardware side of things, internet connections, basically how much and availability of the technologies themselves. And, in the last 2 years, it's really hard for us to get, for example, stocks of VR headsets or even AR headsets or phones, the latest phones and the latest chips or graphic cards or GPUs for computers to come, because everybody logistically is getting challenged by the restrictions of COVID or of the movements in all of these goods. So number one is the logistical issue and challenges of those. So if we want to try and get metaverse out there into the masses, we first need to have a look at all of these kind of like logistical issues or challenges to get it into the hands of people. Of course, the solutions would be looking into, there's another economy there to to focus on to actually help transport all of these goods. And secondly is the challenge of in the development of these technologies as well. What we found out is we need to have a look at how we develop a certain standard in a way that it would be able to be enjoyed by a lot of people. Like people have different mobile phones, for example. Now you can enjoy VR and AR on your mobile phone. You don't have to buy a specific VR headset to enjoy it. You can use those devices as well to enjoy VR and using, something like a Gear VR or, kind of like those plastic headsets that you put your mobile phones in, and then you can enjoy VR content. Even that, then in the development of those technologies, the difficulties is, we need to cater for the fragmentation of hardware. So Samsung has their own security and technology. Apple has their own, security and technology, and creating one standard that would work for every single device is such a pain, especially when you have to test for every single kind of, I guess, a limit of the devices out there. So one of the way we kind of tackle those challenges is to provide I guess, look at where our target market is for the business that we're trying to bring to Metaverse, and kind of limit ourselves what the minimum requirements for the product that we bring into Metaverse would work. Of course, in the future, and as we know, people are getting more and more better and better phones, and maybe getting the AR and VR headsets ready. But until then, we need to have a look at how we create all of these experiences in Metaverse to be able to enjoy it by the most available hardware out there. And I guess the third one that we found out is, to actually bring Metaverse into the hands of people, we then create like experience centers, right? Like, I don't know if, in most of countries now, we have this VR kind of an arcade, where everybody can just book a a session and playing, war games, or even kind of like a puzzle, get out of the room kind of scenario with VR, those kind of things. So bringing it to people is another way of doing it. But since this couple of years, there's a big challenge in there as well, where for us, we're trying to open up a clinic. It's a health, kind of like a medical device or medical help for people using VR. And then we encounter kind of all the different rules of restrictions because of, COVID. And then the other one is a hygiene issue as well, when you have to swap different headsets to different people, and also like AR, and so on, and trying to train people to understand how to use the technology and so on. So, it has a bright future, but to get there, we have to basically be able to solve all these teething challenges. That is quite tricky, and it does cost time and money and effort to develop them. So those are the challenges that we encounter personally while we're developing some of these products.
Danny? Yeah, very interesting points. And yeah, there's so many different types of phones, technology, chips, and different technologies don't run on everything. Finding something that's unilateral that everybody can use is going to be a long way away. But being able to use something at some level is obviously the goal for a lot of businesses moving forward. Very interesting. Thank you very much for that, Danny. And Steve, over to you.
Yep,
Hey, Steve.
totally. So thanks, Danny, for bringing up the technological adoption and the technical side for adopting Metaverse. I think, right, for everyone, especially the 9% who think that Metaverse is just an example of overhyped trend, I think that discussing the challenge of the Metaverse will be very interesting to you guys. So if you guys have any question or opinion regarding the overhyped trend, please let me know in the chat, and totally can answer that. So basically for me, right, the same thing goes to any new and trendy industry. Metaverse is still in its early stage and rapidly developing. And this actually create new challenge, especially when, since Meta, formerly Facebook, as now So in order to achieve an immersive experience as the fully realized metaverse, we'll need to overcome some challenge to become a fully functional virtual world. So to continue with Danny's part, I think the technological advancement is I think the most critical problem, because many people believe that in the metaverse will serve as a platform for interacting and building meaningful relationships. However, for the metaverse to become a place where individual can work, can feel, can experience like real life, right? And they have to be feel emotionally and physically present. And motion capture technology will need to advance to keep up with the innovation of metaverse. For this, right, they have to advance to an entirely new level of sophistication. And for me, I think that some companies have been developing rapidly in order to solve this problem, like the Tesla suit. I'm sure you guys here like play a lot of RPG and FPS game, right? And me, and I'm a gamer myself, I really want to like feel the in-game experience, right? And the next point I want to discuss is the content moderation. This has been a huge problem since the era of the Web 2. Like for example, right, Meta continue to face scrutiny for alleged harmful effect on young user and how it monitor hate speech across its app, including Instagram, Facebook, and even like WhatsApp, right? So with millions of users able to join different platforms, when moderation is actually very important, especially when we are coming to decentralized type of metaverse. So, you know, the current CTO of Meta, formerly Facebook, Andrew Bosworth, he actually mentioned that content moderation in the metaverse is virtually impossible, right? But for me, right, in this current stage, like what my metaverse project MetaLoka is doing, there will be a mix of text and human working together to moderate the content, with AI technology taking the lead on the tech side to flag the obvious and egregious offense. And the human moderator avatar might operate as, you know, appearing from the above the game or scenario and explaining how another avatar had violated the rule and term of service. Right, you can see, right, even Facebook have its own content moderator outsourced to list up its community standards, right? So that's basically about two parts of the technological advancement and the content moderation problem of the metaverse. I really think that the idea of metaverse should not only break technological barrier by offering a parallel user experience, but this is an opportunity to transform the big tech business model that we come to all know and like, right? So that's all my part.
Fantastic. Thanks, Steve. Yeah, some very good insights there. And yeah, I definitely agree. I think when it comes to content policing, moderation, a lot of people want something that's decentralized, but the potential for scams, problems, it opens up a whole new world for that side of things as well. It's definitely something that will be a big part of the future. You know, a big part of our current generation has been trying to get our names out there, trying to be as visual as possible across social media. And you hear a lot of big tech people now talking about privacy being the future. You know, people wanting to remain private, not having all their details out there. And, you know, that's really a big part of moving forward in this virtual world as well. So thank you very much. Very good insights there, Steve. So over to our final question now, which is, how will the metaverse change the world of work? Or we've got a different question here. So what are the future possibilities and potential for the metaverse in business and with consumers? So what are the future possibilities and potential the metaverse has for businesses and consumers? So we'll hand over to Francis, Daniel, and Nguyen Wei to be able to answer this question. So who would like to lead us off?
I'll go first. So that's okay, James.
Hey, Francis. Yeah, over to you.
Hey, James. Yeah. All right. So there's a business in the metaverse is actually booming, which opens a lot of an abundance of opportunities for brands, advertisers, retailers, and employers, right? So what's exciting and encouraging about the metaverse is that nothing about it is completely set in stone. So it's still in its nascent stage. That being said, the metaverse actually presents a major opportunity for brands, but only if they prioritize consumers and their experiences over everything else. So while there are still so many questions about what the metaverse is and what it will be, and there's still some doubts, ultimately it will turn into, right now, it's a place where brands can start to engage and interact with consumers with an eye for the future. So some of the opportunities that we see in the metaverse is the ability to reach new audiences and improve on the brand perceptions. Given today that today's media landscape is highly fragmented, brands often struggle to reach and connect with certain audiences. So you have your Gen Z and the millennials, right, for instance. But many of them try to efficiently make an impact on younger generations. So the brands try to, make that impact with these younger generations. So the metaverse actually presents a great opportunity for these brands, as many of the metaverse-based platforms are dominated by younger audiences. Another opportunity for consumers or brands is to create long-lasting relationships with them and with the consumers and build community. So the audiences that are engaged in the metaverse-based platforms are among the most loyal and passionate of any audience that you will see out there. So for brands to succeed in their metaverse efforts, they actually need to bring something meaningful to the user or their experience. If they do so consistently and in a very authentic way, brands can actually generate a fruitful and lasting relationship moving forward. The metaverse actually also gives the brands the opportunity to stand out. Like I said, media right now is very fragmented, and if brands are looking for opportunities to stand out, the metaverse is actually a dreamland for those who are trying to get to this space, right? So those who need to differentiate or stand out in the category, the metaverse is a very good platform for them. The options are endless, and the brands that think and act the most creatively will actually find themselves getting the attention and admiration of the consumers. There are several ways that we've seen brands jump into the metaverse, so from a tactical point of view, so to speak, right? So one of the ways that brands are actually entering the space is through NFTs. Brands are jumping into this space and are releasing and selling NFT collectibles within the gaming worlds and open source platform. So Gucci did this. That's a popular one, wherein they sold a $4,000 bag in, I think, Roblox, which is costs more than the actual physical bag, right? Another opportunity when it comes to business is actually the e-commerce. E-commerce is also very popular avenue to get into the space. This gives the consumers the ability to purchase within worlds, whether that be goods sent to their home, events, tickets, etc. Right? So it's actually bridging and enhancing the offline to online experience. So that means that this actually opens another purchase channel and unique experience to consumers to connect with the brands. You will actually start to see the emergence of the new retail frontier. So these are your digital twin stores and the augmented shopping experiences, which are actually paving the way now for the next frontier, right? It is something that's intuitive, immersive, and engaging. So the digital shopping experience is basically being transformed right now into a very rich ecosystem that blends into multiple online channels. There's also avatars. Buy avatar accessories within the worlds is very popular. Customizing your own avatar is unique and important. So you'll see a lot of brand mascots, fashion clothing, and accessories are now being purchased via NFTs from either the brands directly or within the world stores. And I think there's two more I'd like to discuss. The other one is where Metaverse is actually being used right now to host events. So whether that be locally or globally. So you have your live music shows, interviews with celebrities, the meet and greets, movie releases, and even listening parties for album drops. So brands are actually taking advantage of a single platform to reach a global audience with a unique experience. And I think the last one that I'd like to touch on is actually gaming, where there is actually opportunity for brands has actually evolved dramatically, progressively, moving towards spaces where people meet and hang out rather than just simply providing a singular game experience. So what we see in the future is that you're going to see online persistent, massively multiplayer game worlds where advertisers and marketers are going to have a claim to the space, right? With all the things that I've mentioned, I think one thing to keep in mind is that, well, one, it won't be easy because we're trying to still traverse the space and trying to get more understanding of the space. But to be able to succeed authentically in the metaverse, many brands should actually they will have to leave their usual marketing strategies and patterns behind. They have to understand that consumers in the metaverse will demand an immersive experience where brand integrations will have to do more than show up. Brands will have to have a real-time live presence with meaningful impact where they're offering consumers something of value in an authentic and non-invasive way. That's it for me, James.
Fantastic. Yeah, thanks, Francis.
You're on mute, James.
All right, I did try and click it, didn't work. So yeah, thank you very much for that, Francis. Yeah, I totally agree. Like, authenticity is key. The world that opens up. I mean, artists are making millions as we speak in the metaverse at these types of concerts and launching new products in there. And yeah, that will be dominated by, you know, I don't know how much of our field of view in the metaverse will be taken up by advertising, but I'm sure they're going to do as much as they can to put as much as they can in there. And maybe there'll be some kind of system similar to YouTube where if you pay money, you get less advertising. But we'll see which way that goes. But new opportunities for retail, absolutely, in a huge way as well. Thank you, really appreciate that. We've got Wan Wei and Daniel. Who would like to go next?
Okay, I think I can go.
Thanks, Wan Wei.
Okay, sure. I'll just make my shot to add on to Francis. I think he covered a lot of ground. So let me add on to some of the points he mentioned. The first one is phygital. So phygital is a new term, a relatively new term coined, which is a combination of physical plus digital. So you will start to see a lot of touch points in retail, especially. To address the question by Jamie Chua. Okay, so Jamie asked the question like, metaverse today, are there like examples solving real world problems or providing real world opportunities? So phygital opportunities are like one area you might want to look into. Okay, another example that Francis gave that linked directly to this phygital opportunity is the Gucci bag. So I've put a link on the comments on you know, the Gucci NFT selling more than the real thing, right? So would it be possible to actually leverage on NFT to solve the problem of fake luxury goods? The answer is yes. So for example, in future, I think in luxury, we will start to see a lot of luxury goods or merchandises. They will tag it to NFT. So if you buy the authentic version, you can actually top up perhaps to actually include the NFT. So people will know when a particular bag is not real because you cannot prove it online, or your avatar does not have it, or it's simply not in your wallet. So as long as you can prove the luxury bag is real, right, you can just show the NFT in your wallet to prove that. So in terms of revenue stream, this is a lot of money for like luxury brands as well. If they can tag like if they can prove authenticity via an NFT. So this is actually one use case that's a lot of money because the fake goods market is very big and a huge problem for luxury brands with a solid heritage. Then second point, quickly I want to mention is that back the point that Francis mentioned on authenticity, it is correct. It is very true. And as brand marketers or branding professionals, we know that it is important to stay true to the brand DNA. And the metaverse is really an extension of how you want to tell your story of a brand. So before we talk about metaverse, can we go back to branding? Like what's the mission, vision, and brand DNA of your brand before you want to tell a story in another way to engage audiences? So these are things that we need to think about. Thank you.
for unmute myself this time. Fantastic. Thanks, Runway. Yeah, a huge opportunity. I think I tried to explain NFTs to my mum and it didn't get very far to understand why people would be buying Bored Ape pictures or invisible friends and spending millions on them.
Yep, totally agree,
it's a whole
James.
new world.
Yeah, same case as me, actually.
Yeah. Even trying to explain a virtual world to my mum was a very interesting experience that went largely over her head. A lady who doesn't really fully understand the DVD player at this point is, is there a world there for them? Will they be able to interact in this world? And certainly the physiotherapy part is something that I'm sure she'll be very interested in. But yeah, it's a big area and it has lots of potential that we don't even know about yet. So yeah, fantastic. Thanks for that, One Way. Who we got left? So Daniel.
Oh, hi. Hi guys. Yeah.
Hey,
so hi Jamie. Hi James. So James, the way I would explain NFT to my mom, maybe to your mom as well, is that what's an NFT from my perspective? So what we're doing at GamePay, an NFT is basically game art, or it could be art with utility, that is with users in a certain environment, in this case a game. So game art with users as in utilities, and then you transpose that on the blockchain with a timestamp and a record of ownership that is immutable. So that's how I would explain it to my mom. What's the metaverse? I go back to the Matrix movie. So, the best way to show my mom what the metaverse is, just to watch Matrix together. So that's what I do. So I'll talk from experience from being on the ground in terms of what we're seeing. So we actually have signed up a number of small, medium-sized fashion houses.
I think, Daniel, I think you might have your finger over your microphone. It's a little bit difficult to hear you.
Okay, can you hear me better now? Yeah, so the opportunity that we are seeing is that small, medium-sized businesses, in this case, fashion houses, are signing up with us because we make it easy for them to create NFTs. We make it easy for them to create new works, fashion works transposed as NFTs. At the moment, it's very difficult for a lot of small, medium-sized businesses to move into this space because they're confused and they find it difficult or cumbersome, the user experience and all that, to create NFTs. And we make it easy for them. So the opportunities for platforms that have good user experience and make it simple for small, medium-sized businesses to benefit and enter, to transition into this new world. And what we are doing is we are working with fashion houses, fashion designers, and artists to create characters and items such as sneakers, sunglasses, etc., jackets that gaming characters wear. And these items also have utility in the game. So sneakers may have some certain powers, sunglasses may have some certain powers that are used in the game. I mean, it doesn't have to have powers, but an item has got more value when it has utility and limited supply. So it has a scarcity. So what we're doing is helping the small, medium-sized businesses, because a lot is discussed about Gucci, about these big brands, but the small, medium-sized businesses, they're still very confused. There's a gap in the market for them that we're addressing. So that's opportunity to remove silos between areas of fashion and gaming, and to allow the transition into this new world. That's it.
Thanks, Daniel. Yeah, I think it certainly brings up a huge amount of opportunity for everybody who's listening now, panelists, hosts, myself, and our audience out there, to make money, to lose money. It's definitely something we need to be aware of. I think there's no getting away from this. It certainly looks like, from listening to the panel, that we have, a big future in this area, that the amount of applications and implications of those are huge. And there's many things that we probably haven't even discussed today as well. We started out hearing about screen burnout, people who are staring at screen. I certainly suffer from that day to day. This is my job, standing in front of a screen, talking to people, answering questions and answering questions. And you find that you do have a different type of burnout. It's not good for your eyes. It's not very human. in terms of how we're used to interacting. And this could open up a lot more variety for us. I think we've heard about the gig economy, the ability to be able to make money playing games, the ability for shops to be able to sell products, to have virtual tours, to have products exchangeable for products in the real world, and looking at who our target markets are as businesses, as consumers. You know, how do we find these businesses? How do we attract consumers to our businesses, and how do we market that in this world? We've looked at the potential for policing and moderation. You know, how do we police and moderate the different metaverses, because there are multiple ones. Who's going to do that? You know, how does this open up the potential for new types of cybercrime? We've already had lots of, you know, kind of coins and tokens which have been built up massively, and then the people run away and disappear. You know, how do we get our money back if we lose it in this world? You know, these are all questions that we all have. I think brand perception, we've looked at the fact that young consumers really dominate this market at the moment. How do we look at people like Daniel's mum and my mum understanding this world and being able to, you know, explore it, to have some fun with it, to get some physiotherapy, or to meet friends, speak with friends they haven't been able to before. There seems to be really something for everybody in this new world, which is very exciting. So just before we wrap up today, the last 10 minutes of the meeting today, I'd like to be able to do some of the Q&A. So we've had some great questions coming in. So thank you to everybody who has been asking questions. So I'll try and go through and ask some of these questions. So we've got a question here, which is asking about the implication of metaverse and why it is beneficial to us. So it's quite a big question, but you know, why? Okay, that's a big question. Let's not ask that now.
Talk about the security question, James.
I'm just flicking through now and trying to find them all. Okay, so the security question is, what security is in place in the metaverse on regulating fake profiles and overhyped AI or bot programs? So what is the security that's in place in the metaverse to regulate fake profiles and overhyped AI or bot programs? So anybody in the panel who would like to answer that question?
It's a very tough question, but I'll try and answer some of those. I would say it's a new type of, I guess, business opportunity to actually look at that. You know, I mean, we don't have to go far that way. Like in the current world, we have social engineering. You know, the best way to actually get a password is to call somebody in your family that knows about the password that is a kind of like the second person to access your account, for example, right? So with the metaverse, that is amplified because you can be anybody. I mean, the same one as the internet. You know, you can be anybody that you want, and so on. So a few ways of going about it that, you know, that I'm aware of being developed at the moment is looking at your biometrics data. Of course, you know, there's a few new headsets that actually have camera looking into your eyes to, one is track your biometric data, for example, to get analytics, so as you are encountering a certain experience, whether your pupil is dilating or not, that can be recorded so that it becomes a good health biometric data to help, I guess, designers or developers understand if they are creating a certain experience, whether it's a game, whether it's a physiotherapy, psychotherapy. It would then help quantify that specific experience is helpful. That itself can be used later on as a sort of identification, I guess, the same way as how your newest iPhone look at your contour of your face with its infrared to understand that's you, and you can just unlock your phone by looking at it, and then it scans your face every couple of seconds to identify that it's still you holding the phone. Otherwise, it will auto lock itself, for example. So those kind of like technologies can help, with the security in some sort. But of course, with any technologies, you will still have all of those spams, I would say, right? I mean, if you imagine advertising currently on web browser and you have ad blocks, what would stop those advertising agencies? I'm sorry, Ogilvy, you're probably gonna put some marketing advertising on Metaverse. It's a business opportunity, right? But how do you, if you don't want to see it, how are you gonna stop that? Because it's literally gonna be embedded into the Metaverse and you can't, ad block it. Well, in the future, probably ad block will have their own Metaverse version of the ad blocker. So those kind of some of the technology that, as far as I'm aware, it's getting there. But of course, security is still a big challenge. You can be anybody you want.
Yep, totally agree with you, Danny. I think right for your opinion, I think Metaverse or any type of trendy new technology, NFT or Metaverse, it still have to bound with physical stuff. Like in the real life, you have several things to prove, like you are who you are, to prevent kind of scam or criminal activity, right? Like ID, fingerprint, facial recognition. But in the virtual world, right, you can be whatever you are. So that's why I think that there's the new, or not like a new technology, but the solution for it is the KYC engine, know your client or know your customer, right? So you have to bound your physical ID with your avatar on the Metaverse. I think that will be avoiding a lot of scam and criminal stuff like harassment or even violation in the community guideline. So I think that's one of the solutions, the KYC.
Steve, I think we've got time for about one more question. I've seen a question here from Nicholas, which is interesting. So Nicholas is concerned about the impact of the metaverse on mental health. So looking at loss of identity in the metaverse, you can be whatever you want. You can be a superstar or a cat. What happens if a large community prefers to live consistently in the metaverse? So what would be the impact of that type of experience on humans? Do any of the panel have an insight on the possible mental health effects of prolonged use of the metaverse?
Oh, I can go for that. So my question to you, Nicholas, just to play devil's advocate, aren't we already having that in gaming communities? Just to play devil's advocate. But I absolutely agree with you, because I have nephews, they are 7 and 8 this year. And you see the younger generation, they are always on their phone. And it's very problematic because for game companies and for social media companies like Facebook, the objective is to use gamification to keep you addicted, right? Because they measure some of the success metrics as stickiness onto the app. So addiction is a big problem. But frankly speaking, aren't we already seeing that in games? So I think it's the same issue. So perhaps we would, this is inevitable, people will be increasingly addicted, and hence I think education-wise, it might be wise to actually go for some form of awareness, like self-awareness. You have to, maybe as parents, to be very self-aware when your kids is moving into that direction. And for yourself, for ourselves, maybe be aware that it is in the closed metaverse, big tech interest to keep us addicted. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Wenwei. Yeah, definitely it's going to be something that will be potentially a problem in the future, as social media is now. If you've ever seen the Social Dilemma documentary, you'll have some understanding of how well versed these companies are at keeping our attention and how much they know about our psychology. Certainly that will be used against people to keep them in, keep them engaged, and keep them paying money. But what are the long-term effects of too much engagement? Yeah, we're starting to see some of that now, and this is certainly going to be something that will exacerbate what we've already started. So having good understanding of it, teaching our children about how to use it and how to use it for good is certainly something we need to look at. I think we've got time for one more answer. If anyone else would like to jump in on the mental health effects of long-term use of the metaverse.
Yeah, I think I'll just include a little comment. Yeah, I think I'll not to repeat the previous comments, but yeah, education is a big thing. So the government and parents educating the children about the benefits of working out, of playing sports, and also incentives from the government, from society, so that young people, children are incentivized to play sports, so that you don't have to force them to be out and about, that they enjoy it and they will do it anyway. So showing the incentives, the benefits, and starting at an early age, so that governments that need to be heavily involved, the educational system needs to be heavily involved in making sure that children at the very early stage see the benefits and enjoy being out and about. So you don't have to force them to be out and about. They actually enjoy being out and about.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that and the comments before with regards to going out. If you've ever been on a train recently and you look up and down a carriage, you pretty much see everybody staring at a phone. Anybody who thinks that the zombie apocalypse is not already here, you just need to walk down the street and look at everyone staring down at their phones. I think if there was an alien race which was observing us, they would probably think that we worship screens. We're always constantly bowing our heads in front of them, or standing in front of them, or sitting in front of them. And it certainly is going to be a huge part of our future. So I think with that, I wanted to thank all of our panelists for your participation. It's been absolutely fantastic. I found it very enlightening. Thank you very much for your participation. Thank you to everybody who's come along and listened and asked questions. Thank you very much to our CEO, Rafa, for being a big part of putting this webinar together and moving this forward. It's certainly, just scratching the surface of this conversation. And we will have future webinars coming up on this and with crypto as well. Please feel free to link in. We've had lots of people sharing within the chat their LinkedIn profiles. Please feel free to link in with me. Certainly, if your business is looking to grow and look further into this space, we're happy to discuss this further, and also happy to interact, connect, and network with all of you. And same for the panelists as well. If any of you out there want to link in, connect with them. Some of them have posted their profiles already, posted their businesses as well. Please feel free to get connected, get engaged, and hopefully at some point in the not too distant future, we'll be able to have this meeting in the metaverse. So there you go. I think a nice way to wrap up today's webinar. Rafa, any final words from you before we go?
No, I think you wrap it up perfectly. Thanks, everyone, especially all our speakers. And yeah, definitely it's going to change the way we work. There is a lot of challenge and opportunity in front of us, and we will see a lot of polemics. So a great, really great webinar. Thanks all.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Rafael.
Thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.